So I wasn't going to make another video today. I have my live stream with Joshua in a little bit. I've already posted 2 other videos. I was like, my job is done for the day. I can focus on other things. And then this article popped up on my screen. And, I'm not going to talk about this heinous attack against a 65-year-old Asian American woman. I'm not going to talk about that. The video has been going around social media. If you are at all connected on social media, you've probably seen it. If you have not seen it, I will link this article in the description below so you can go and watch this video. I'm not interested in talking about the attack. I'm interested in talking about the coverage of the attack. But first, we're going to read this article. We are going to read this full article from start to finish. And what I want you to pay attention to is what is missing from this article. That's what we're listening for, because most of the time when the media is lying to you, they're not doing it overtly. They're simply lying by omission. They are not covering things in the way that they should. All right. From the Washington Post. Asian American woman, 65, beaten in racist attack. NYPD says bystanders didn't help, video suggests. An Asian American woman was walking through Hell's Kitchen neighborhood of Manhattan on Monday when a stranger approached. The 65-year-old woman stopped abruptly outside a luxury condo tower, surveillance video shows. Suddenly, the man kicked her in the stomach, knocking her to the sidewalk, and then brutally stomped on her head again and again. All the while, the police said, he spewed slurs at her. Well, doesn't that sound like a horribly racist hate crime? As the woman was viciously attacked, video appeared to show at least 3 people in the condo's lobby passively watching the violence. When the attacker walks away, leaving the injured woman prone on the sidewalk, one man, reportedly a security guard, calmly shut the door on her. The video has led to new calls for an end to the rising tide of violence against Asian Americans and raised questions about the bystanders' conduct. The cold-hearted building security guards not only failed to render aid, he closed the door on the victim. The New York Police Department's Asian Hate Crimes Task Force wrote in a since-deleted tweet, WABC reported. Early on Tuesday, the company that manages the condo tower announced the staffers involved in the incident had been suspended. The staff who witnessed the attack have been suspended pending an investigation in conjunction with their union, the Brodsky organization wrote in an Instagram post, which also noted the company is trying to identify a third-party vendor who was also on the scene so that appropriate action can be taken. The case was one of 2 attacks on Asian Americans in New York caught on video and publicized on Monday, on the same day that city leaders gathered in Brooklyn to urge a quick action to halt the rising tide of racist violence and threats. This is absolutely vile. These attacks against Asian American New Yorkers must end, the New York City Council Speaker Corey Johnson said on Twitter, linking to a video of the attack on the woman. Hate has no place here. We must always call it out when we see it. In recent weeks, Asian Americans in New York have reported being punched in subway cars, spit on, and pummeled with metal pipes, an ugly echo of a national trend that activists say gained traction as former President Donald Trump has used racist terms to tie the coronavirus pandemic to China. The first attack shared by the NYPD on Monday took place on board a Manhattan-bound subway car in Brooklyn. Police had not said when the attack took place, but a video of the incident shows an Asian American man wearing a backpack being shoved by another passenger, who then starts punching him in the face repeatedly. Eventually, the passenger locks the man in a chokehold, tightly gripping his neck until he passes out on the floor of the train. Now, apparently, it was later reported, and I did see this video as well, and it did look like an Asian American man in the video, but I think it was later reported that that man was either Hispanic or Latino. So I'm not sure about that piece. Someone double check in the comments, I suppose. But the ironic thing is the problem with that incident and how they covered that incident is actually the same problem that I have with this particular incident with the 65-year-old woman. Have you identified what's missing from the article yet? Have you identified what is missing in the way that the Washington Post has covered both of these attacks? What haven't they told you? Let's continue. The NYPD is aware of this video and is investigating. The NYPD Hate Crimes Task Force out on Twitter on Monday. The attack in Hell's Kitchen happened just before noon on Monday, police said, as the unidentified victim was walking along West 43rd Street. The woman was headed to church, WABC reported. The attacker yelled, "F you don't belong here," and began assaulting her. Video shows one man in the building's lobby watching the entirety of the attack. That man, who appeared to be tying a stack of boxes onto a cart, stared out the glass doors as the woman, who was repeatedly kicked in the head, but made no move to assist her. Two other men, who were security guards, according to WABC, then walked towards the entrance as the assailant left and closed the door on the victim. The woman sustained a serious physical injury, said the NYPD, and was taken to the NYU Langone Hospital, where she was in stable condition. Well, thank God for that. The NYPD's Hate Crimes Task Force is investigating the case. City officials, activists, and celebrities decried the video and urged a swift arrest for the attacker. Well, if the celebrities are saying it, you'd think, again, they still haven't said it yet, but the celebrities are coming, so surely the celebrities will tell you the truth of what's going on. This is absolutely disgusting. Asian Americans belong in New York and are an integral part of our city, tweeted Scott Stringer, New York City's comptroller and a candidate for mayor. We have to continue to speak out. We have to continue to protect our AAPI neighbors, and we have to act immediately to stop Asian hate. I wonder, by the way, how Asian Americans feel about being called AAPI. It just, like, the saying is like so close to like AARP for me. It's like a weird connotation. But, you know, the woke have a new acronym, whatever. Other question, the apparent lack of action from bystanders in the lobby. This is despicable. The action and the guards' inaction closing the door on the victim, tweeted actress Gemma Chan. Representative Grace Meng, who among the officials calling for an end to anti-Asian hate crimes. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, are there any public officials that are in support of anti-Asian hate crimes? Like, why do we have the need? So, just note this for a second. The Washington Post is reporting that people are against anti-Asian American hate crimes. They still haven't reported a pretty important piece in this puzzle, though. The officials calling for an end to anti-Asian hate crimes at the meeting in Brooklyn earlier on Monday said the video reinforced a profound lack of empathy for Asian Americans. We've gone from being invisible to being seen as subhuman, Meng tweeted. We just want to be seen as Americans just like everyone else. All right. That's the end of the article. What didn't the Washington Post report? What didn't the Post report? Well, I just want to take a look at just the very beginning of this video. We're not going to watch the sound. We're not going to watch what happened. We're just going to watch the very, very, very beginning of this video. Ready? There it is. There's the man who attacked the 65-year-old Asian woman. Does he look white? No. No, not white. Not white. Not white at all. And normally this would not even be something that I would care to discuss. I would not care to discuss the race of a perpetrator of a crime. Because for me, that is not an issue. In most cases, that is not the primary issue in most instances, but I do find it funny. I find it funny that in the very same article that the Washington Post is blaming this attack on Donald Trump. When we have people like Nancy Pelosi and Judy Chu in California saying that attacks against Asian Americans, it's just all white supremacy. That's what it is. That is what's driving up the anti-Asian hate crimes. It's all white supremacy. This is from Fox News. In February, Representative Judy Chu, Democrat from California, chairman of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, said the attacks were no accident, adding it was clear January 6th was not the only violence Donald Trump incited. Nancy Pelosi said that white supremacy contributed to an increase in these attacks, in both this attack against a 65-year-old woman yesterday and in that other attack on the subway. The perpetrators of the attack were not white. They were black, and no one is reporting it. If you haven't watched the videos from either of those attacks, you don't know they're black. Now, again, I don't really care. It does not matter to me if you are white, black, brown, whatever. If you're beating someone else up, that is a problem. That is an individual choice to get yourself in that situation. But if that attacker was white, that would have been in the headline. It would have been in the headline. These people do not care about an increase in Asian American hate crimes. They don't care. The only thing they care about is reinforcing their narrative. Because if they actually cared about an increase in crimes against Asian Americans, they would be having an honest conversation about where that increase is coming from, and they're instead blaming it on white supremacy when most of the time the perpetrators are not white. According to the Justice Department, 27.5% of all violent crimes against Asian Americans in 2018 were committed by black people. That's over 50,000 incidents in a single year. White criminals and Asian criminals each accounted for 24.1% of all attacks on Asians. It ain't coming from white people. Do they commit some of the crimes? Yes. We have to acknowledge that Asians commit some of the crimes as well. But if you want to scream white supremacy for everything, you have to acknowledge that the white people make up 62% of the population. They are only committing 24.1% of the dang crimes. Whereas African Americans are committing a disproportionately larger amount of these crimes, and no one wants to have at least no one in the media or on the political left want to have a conversation about why this is. Instead, they just want to shout white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy. If you actually cared about these people that are being attacked, if you actually cared about that 65-year-old woman who was attacked in this, you would be having an honest conversation about the person who attacked her, instead of trying to make it seem this article literally spent more time talking about Donald Trump than it did the person attacking her. What does that say to you about where the priorities of the Washington Post lie? Wow. Lie indeed. That's all I've got for right now. I'll link to all this in the description below if you want to read it for yourself. I'll see you guys soon.